everybody, Audra here, also known as Twisted Chunker, and I am your independent creator with Magnolia Design Company. And tonight I'm going to be doing something a little bit different than what I normally do. Tonight I'm going to use a Christmas light bulb to make Easter, Halloween. Let's make Halloween already, huh? Easter decorations. And I had mentioned in my live last night that I was waiting for my Easter stencils to come in that I could be using for this. And then I got a little impatient. I started playing with it and got a little impatient and decided I wanted to do something now. And I remembered taking a hardwood cutout that I picked up from Dollar Tree and wrapping it in yarn and gluing it together, and it turned out to be a really pretty Valentine's Day decoration. And so I cut the top part off and started wrapping one in yarn, and it looked horrible. And then I remembered that I had something else on hand that I could use to make it into what I've got here. Don't pay attention to my groceries. If you're new here, I do this in my dining room because it's my only workspace that I have available. So I do have some groceries in the background. You can see some tortillas. You hungry? You want some tacos? Anyway, here is the Easter egg decoration that I made using, let's see, all but one item here I used from Dollar Tree items. So this is the Dollar Tree light bulb and Dollar Tree mop head, and I'm using the same mop head that I opened yesterday to do that one back there. It only took about maybe a third of it, I'm not sure. And then I also used Jenga blocks from Dollar Tree, and I used ribbon from Dollar Tree. I'm going to use the pink again, but I'm going to use this ribbon instead to make it a little bit different from the one over there. The only thing that's not from Dollar Tree, and I have no idea where I got them from, are these eggs. I had them in my old Easter decorations from years ago, and I thought I'd put them to use for my crafting. So I'm using those. So we're going to start with showing you how to prepare this for the egg shape. And then I went ahead and did a little bit of the work in advance today because it takes a little while to do this. So I'll show you that part when I'm done. So the first thing I'm going to do is lower you down to the table so you can see what I've got going on here. All right, here we go. I like to go slow in case anybody gets dizzy. We don't want any dizziness. Okay, so this is what I'm starting with, and you can cut it off, you don't have to. First I'm going to cut this out, take this off so that this just becomes an egg shape, and I'm just going to use my box cutter. And my first time I did it, I cut it on the front, and what I did was I cut it a couple times and then I broke it. And what happened, oh, I covered it up. You can't tell because I covered it up. It kind of tore that side, and that's not good if you want to use this side. So I started cutting them on the back, and I'll show you what I did with the other one once I'm done here. So I've got my self-healing mat under here so I don't cut my table. Now I'm just going to go along where I think the end of the egg should be. And careful your fingers. Just give it a good slice, and then it just breaks off. And then you can cut it a little more inside there. There we go. So it's kind of wonky, so I can just take my scissors and trim it down. Just like that. And voila, we have an egg. Can you see it? All right, and what I do at this point is I take it to the trash can and I sand it down as much as I can. Now, for this one that I made right here, I didn't even paint. All I did was cover up this part. So you have to be careful to get them nice and close so that the red doesn't show through, and you can't even tell. Now, on this other one, my original plan was to paint 2 or 3 and then chalk on them with my stencils, but they're not here and I'm impatient. I had already started painting it. What I did, let me back up a little bit. I cut the top off and then I sanded it down a little bit, and then I used this craft paper that I picked up at Dollar Tree, big old roll of craft paper. And I Mod Podged it on top and then put Mod Podge on top of that. And then when it was dry, I sanded down the edges. You just take a sanding block and you just sand it downward like this until it starts breaking off. And then if you just swipe it sideways, it pulls off the part that breaks off. So you have a nice clean finish. I went a little crazy on this spot right here, but otherwise, the rest of it's okay. And then I started painting it with the celery chalk paint. I thought I was going to do celery on one, white on the other, and ballet slipper on the third one, but I don't really care for the celery. So I'm covering it up. So far I've glued this much on because it does take a little time. And I don't know about you, I'm not going anywhere, but I'm not going anywhere because we're covered in snow. And so I have time, but I don't know if you do. So I just wanted to make sure I didn't take too long of your time. So what we're going to do now is just basic. Oh, before I start gluing more, I've gotten to the point where this space is short enough that I can use this part that's hanging off instead of wasting. I've got a bunch of it left, but I don't want to waste, so I'm going to cut this part off first. All I got to do is turn it over and cut it along the edge. And there we have the perfect. And this, I only stuck it over just a little bit so that when I do cut it, it'll all be lined up, but I'm not going to worry about cutting it right now. So now these pieces will work for the rest of the egg. Well, I say that. I might need to do 1 or 2 more long ones. This is not what I normally do. If you've seen any of my other lives, normally I paint and then I chalk over my stencils because that's what I do. That's what I love to do. That is what got me started on stuff like this. Every so often I'll sway over to a different direction and make things that I'm not chalking on, but for the most part, I'm a chalkaholic. And if I can chalk on it, I'll buy it. And maybe one of these days I'll give you a glimpse of my supply that I have in my closet and in my bedroom and over here in the dining room and a little bit in the living room. I desperately need a craft room, but I live in a 2-room duplex. I'm sharing my space with a friend so that we can share expenses, and that's just how it is. She's very patient and puts up with me being all over the place, so that's kind of nice. All right, let's see. So basically all I'm doing is running the glue down along the edge of the rope that's already there, the mop head rope. They have a gray and white mop head, and they have just a white mop head. And I have some of the gray and white, but I chose to just use the white on this. It's an egg, and yes, we do color our eggs for Easter, but I really wanted my ribbon and my bow to pop. So I chose white. Now to get this dot, I don't know if you know, I don't know if you've ever used these, but I do want to show you. To get them apart, as you can see, it's just like that right there. See that little piece right there? I take this, I guess it's a wire cutter, and I just squeeze it in there, pull it apart as much as I can, squeeze it in there, and then cut it. And see, it just breaks right off. And then you can do it on the other side, and then this all pulls out into long strands like this. So it makes it very easy to use. All right. I love doing these before and afters. This is one of my favorite things to do, is to get something like this, or even pick up items at the thrift store. How many of you like to do that? Go to the thrift store and find outdated items that are just not wanted anymore, or a huge mess, and clean them up and make them pretty again and repurpose or upcycle. And then I love to do before and after. I think I just heard ice or something sliding off the house. I don't even know what the temperature is today. I didn't bother checking. Yesterday it was at 8 degrees and it felt like -9. It is winter. I'm not complaining. It's winter. And I don't mind, because it's enabled me to work at home and be here. And working at home gives me more time to do this. This too, this crafting, this making things has kept me from being way too stir crazy as well. Because I have been working at home since Wednesday. And normally I would be ready to just go crazy, but this right here is very therapeutic, very fun, very addicting, that's for sure. All right, so I've glued it all the way to the edge, and as you can see, there's still overhang, and that'll be cut off too as soon as I'm done gluing this side. So this is the longest part of the project right here. Once this is done, the rest of it will go fast. We do use a lot of glue, so you have a lot of glue handy. It's nice because when you're first gluing it on, the board and the rope is nice and warm. It's a good hand warmer. There we go. I'm just tucking it in as close as I can, but also squishing down on it to spread it out a little bit, because then that'll take up space, and then that means less rope to use. I do everything I can to stretch my $1 that I've already used on one egg. And this is going to be a second egg, and there will be enough left for a third project. Probably not the same project, but there will be enough left for a third project by the time I'm done with this. So 3 projects out of $1 really isn't bad. Alright, almost there. I could have done more, but I didn't want to cut it all off without you being able to see what I was doing. Here we go. Maybe 2 more, maybe 1. Let's see. I think I'll put 1 more right there on that very edge. Squish that in there and do 1 more. go. Now press on it a little bit, make sure it's good and stuck on there before I start cutting it. There's glue coming off the edge. There we go. Right. The egg is covered. Doesn't look like much of an egg right now. This is all that's left. This is left from the first one that I had, and this will be the second egg. And these two pieces can be added to it, and so this can be great for, I don't know, maybe a tiny gnome, a little gnome. It could be his hair, his beard. All right, so now all we do is cut along the edge of the egg. I have one of those deals that looks like a pizza cutter, but I think I used the blade to death when I was cutting shirts and stuff and making scarves. I could find it and try it. It might be easier, I don't know. Nice and clean. Now when I did the first one, I did find that the tips kind of wanted to try to unravel. Oh, how'd you get away? So I went through. It's not really glued all the way on. All right, so I'm gonna save the two long ones, and then the rest of this can be trash. So now we have an egg. And see, there are little places that just kind of want to start sticking up. So now I'm just going to go through, put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to go through and put a little glue in there and push it down. So anything that looks kind of loose, I'm just going into the middle of there's three strands, and I'm just poking the glue gun into the tip of the strand and just adding a little bit of glue so it won't come unraveled on you. There you go. So the glue is not on top, you can't see it, but yet it's holding it together. That one's a little loose. And that one's a little loose. There we go. See, some of them are starting to stick up because they got pointed, it was pushed up against my shirt. So I'm just going to glue them down so they don't do that. There we go. There's one right here. There's a little. This one is moving around. Ouch! Hot. That was still hot. This one's still moving around, so I'll put a little bit more glue here. There we go. So that the worst of it's over. Now, I decided to do this pretty spring colors here. So all I did, oops, I got glue all over my hands, was decide exactly where you want it. Excuse me, I need some water. Okay. And then I just kind of push it down and wrap it around like this. So just to kind of determine where I want to cut it. Excuse me, goodness gracious. So I'm going to cut this off a little bit so that it's not looking so stringy and nasty. I have to fix that one. There we go. as you're working with it, you may find some loose strands that need to be glued down. Now I'm going to glue this here. I'm just kind of working the glue around, spread it out. I'm almost to the point where we're going to make the bow and then glue the stand on. It will be done. Oh yes, and the egg. I have to pick a color. Okay, so maybe you can help me pick a color because I like them all. So here are the colors of the bow, and here are the eggs. I have pink, I have green, I have yellow, purple, and orange. And then I also have this color, but this is already on the other egg, so I'm going to leave this one out. So which do you prefer? What do you think? What color should I put on there? Orange. Can you see them? I'm coming out of the camera zone, aren't I? Orange. Did you even see them? I hope so. Excuse me. So right now I'm just pulling it tight. So I can wrap it around and go to the other side. I'm kind of working the ribbon toward the center of the egg because I want it to be as tight as I can get it. Go. So there it is so far. Got a yarn sticking up. So I'm going to put it down. Hot, hot, hot. Okay. Now my bow. Here's the bow making part. I don't think there's enough left on this one. You know, maybe there is. Whoops. I saved a lot of these too. I don't know if I wanted to tear that apart or not. Alright, so I'm just going to take these two ribbons, put them together like this, and then I'm going to fold them down to be as big as I want the bow. So, you know, however big you want the bow to be, you can make it this big, you can make a little one and just do it on the side, whatever size you want. And I think I want to go with the bigger one. I just want to have it go across the middle there. So this is how big it's going to be. Maybe a little bit smaller. I don't want it to overpower the egg. There we go. These are wired ribbons, so you can work with them easily. Alright, so now I've got this one fold right here. I'm going to fold it over again. So now I have one fold on each side. Fold it over again. I have two folds here, one fold there. So I'm going to fold it there. So now I have two folds on each side. And I want 3 to make this particular bow right here. I had 3 folds on each side. So I have 2, 2. I might not have enough pink left. 3. Oh, I just have enough. And 3. So now I have 3 folds. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 folds on each side. Okay. So I'm going to cut my ribbon right there. Okay. Now I'm going to need a tail. So I got to decide how long I want my tail. I'm going to go about that long. So I'm going to cut it right there. I don't cut before I measure because, again, I'm cheap. Frugal. I'm frugal. And I want to get as much out of it as I can get. So, oopsie. I don't cut before I measure. That piece right there, I don't need. So, actually I could use it for the bottom. I used some leftover burlap to make this bow too. It's just on the bottom side, you can't see it. So little pieces like this could come in handy. I just cut a circle out of the middle and then glued the pieces onto the circle for the bait, you know, for the bottom of it, and then I was able to glue it onto the egg. So I'm going to save that. And then this pink one. I like the, this is going to be on top, and I like it to be a little bit shorter than the bottom tail, so I'm just going to cut it a little bit shorter than this. So it'll be like that. And then I'm going to take them and just dovetail them. Go. So the tail's ready. I have pipe cleaner. I don't have any pink. I wish I had pink, but I don't. So I'm using the black, and it won't matter because the egg that we choose to put on it will cover it up. And you don't have to put an egg. If you have a little bunny, you could put a little bunny, or if you have a even just a button would be cute, just a plain button. But I wanted to put the egg. So now we have these folded, 3 folds on each side. You could do less, you could do more, totally up to you. I'm going to take the center of the bow. So I'm just kind of folding it in half, and I'm going to open it. That tells me where the center is. It's like right at the edge of the yellow. And I'm just going to snip it. Not too big, just a little snip. Just like that. And then I'm going to do a snip on the other side. I went all the way through. All layers. I don't know how many layers there are. I guess I could sit and count, but I'm not going to. Then I took the pipe cleaner, wrapped it around so that it goes into the spot that I snipped. And then I just pull it tight. Grab it with 2 hands and then turn it a few times. Okay. Now I'm going to reach inside the very first fold, which is going to be this pink. And I'm going to pull it down, twist it a little bit. And I'm going to take the plaid that's over it, pull it up, twist it a little bit. And then I'll pull the pink up and pull the plaid down and pull the plaid up and the pink down so that it's every other one. There's a little tail here, So I'll put that down there. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and dovetail it too since it's sticking out. If I can. It's kind of short. I hear somebody outside stuck trying to get their vehicle to go. They're revving it up and it's not moving, I think, because they've been doing it for quite a while. Got the extra string. And then we go to the other side and we do the same thing. Since I'd pulled pink down first here, I'm going to pull pink up first on this side. I should say to the left or right. I'm going to pull it to the left, to my left. And then I'm going to pull this one the opposite direction. And then I'm going to pull the pink out this way. And pull the plaid. Is it plaid? The colored one. And then I'm going to do the opposite again with the last one. Now it's not pretty yet, but that's okay. I'm going to work on it once I glue it down. So we can put this down this way. What did I drop? Oh, my spatula. I'm going to aim these the same direction I'm aiming the tail. So that it just kind of looks like they're in addition to the tails. All right. Now, I will add the tail. And I want to put the tail this way. So I just use the just twist it. Oops. Oh, no, I'm not going to do it that way because I'm messing up my bow. I'm just going to twist it. I do tie it as well. Okay. And cut it down. It's still squished, and that's okay. It'll get fixed once I have it glued on and it's stuck on there really well. So now, this is where I'm just going to glue it. And I'm going to use a little bit of E6000 and hot glue. So the E6000 will give it a good permanent stick. And the hot glue will give it a quick dry so that it'll hold it in place while the E6000 is doing its job. So I just did a blob in the center where it sticks out the most. Just like that. And then I'm going to, oops, put some glue in my gun. Nope, it's not ready. Just go around it. Here we go. And then lay it where I want it. Okay, so I'm just going to give it a minute to do its thing. My pink ended up on the wrong side of the bow of the other one. But I can just fix that like this. There. Now it's hanging down lower than the egg, so I'll probably cut it just a little bit shorter. I'll start fluffing it in a minute. While that's drying for a minute, I'm going to show you the stand. The stand, again, I took from a box of Jenga blocks. This was $1 at Dollar Tree. So I took 2 of these blocks and I glued them together this way. And I used wood glue, and I did it earlier today because it took a little while to dry. I have found that hot glue, I struggle to get these to stick together with hot glue, and even with E6000. So I always have better luck when I use the Gorilla wood glue on it. So This is going to go back here, but I don't want to put it there yet because I want to finish this. And it won't be laying flat if I do. So now I can just fluff it up. I got a pink one hiding in there. There we go. All right, so I fluffed it up. I'm going to take one of these. All right, so look at it in the camera too. Purple. That's kind of pretty. I mean, there's no purple in the bow, but I think the purple brings out the blue. Let's see. Yellow. That's really pretty too because of the yellow trim. Green. They're all pretty. I don't think I should do pink. That's too much pink. And orange. No. So now, yellow, green. I think yellow. I'm gonna go with yellow. So I took this egg. This one is covered in, I don't know what these are called, but it's covered in something. And I'm just going to cut it in half so it'll sit in there better. So it's just styrofoam. See, it's just styrofoam. So, and I wanted yellow, not green. Okay, well, I'll be using that for a different project. Okay, we'll do this again. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, so here we go. This is the best one. That one, a little bit of the bottom came off, so I'm going to use this one. And again, I'm going to use the little E6000. See all the little bead thingies. I don't know what they're called. It's that little thing right there. So I'm going to put a little E6000 just down the center, just like that. And then a little hot glue to hold it in place while the E6000 dries. I did find when I put the blue one on that I had to put glue underneath it as well, because there are there's a lot of space between the ribbon and the egg, and so it might not be getting a good stick. And so I went ahead and just went under there and put in a bunch of glue. Okay. Trim this up a little bit. And I know this isn't my normal chalking. Chalking is what I normally do, but chalking is what got me into this kind of stuff as well. I just started checking into other methods of making things. Look at that. That is so pretty. So last step is to add the stand. Now this is going to have to take a minute to dry. The stand is going to go on this way. There you go. It's going to go on that way to hold it up. So it'll just sit on the table or fireplace mantle or something. So So a little wood glue. You know, I'm going to wait because I'm going to have to lay it down to let it dry. So that's it. That's my little Christmas light bulb that is now an Easter egg. So we have these two. All right, that's it. So that's it for tonight, and I appreciate you joining me. If you're watching the replay, thank you so much. And if you have any questions, just let me know, and I will be happy to answer them. And yeah. All right. Good night, everybody. Stay safe and warm out there.